Welcome to this week's episode of Honest to Gob, the podcast where we like to get honest. And this week, we're getting honest about physical exercise. We're going to talk about what we love to do to move. We're also going to let you know some top tips of how you can feel a little bit more motivated to get moving too. And we'll tell you why Claire's mum used a really, really rude potty mouth word for the first time ever after she dragged her up a mountain. Let's have a listen.
This week, we are here to talk about physical health movement. Do you move?
I move my arse sometimes from the sofa to the fridge. No, I'm only joking. No. Getting better at moving. We move a lot. No, we've talked about mental health, so we wanted to talk about physical health as well because it's really important. And am I right in thinking, I know for me, it's probably the thing that I neglect first, the physical health side of stuff. You know, if things get a bit busy and a bit crazy and you're juggling all the balls and not the nice ones. And the physical health is the first thing that I will scrub out of the diary. The trips to the gym, the home workouts, the walks. I'm too busy. Yeah. I'm too busy for that. And it's not great for us, is it?
No, we need to move because we're human beings, aren't we? And we need to move. I'm the same as you. When I'm busy, like yesterday, I was up the wall with what I had on, and Mark was saying, we're going to walk the dogs now. And I was like, I'm coming. I'm definitely coming because I've not done anything today. And obviously I've just not had a chance to go to the gym or anything like that. So he said he got the 2 huskies ready and I was on my email, and then I just said, no, I'm too busy. So he went for an hour's walk with the dogs and I continued to sit at my desk, and I felt it last night. So I ended up doing a little bit of stretch and a little bit of yoga just because I could feel the energy in the body getting tight and stuck. So hence, good job I'm a yoga teacher because I should be, practicing yoga because that's what I might teach people. So I've got that knowledge and I notice now when I need that exercise, but I definitely need more movement at the minute in terms of moving the body.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
So you know that yesterday you went, now I'm too busy, and you regretted it. What could you do again in the future if that was to happen? What did you learn from yesterday, and how can you make that next time, that next opportunity? When your husband Mark says, right, come on, we're going to go and walk the dogs, and you are tap, 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 scroll, busy on the phone. Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you could have emailed on your phone while walking the dogs.
Yeah, but when I go for a walk, I like to just be in the zone of the walk, or I'd listen to an audible and I'd be listening to stuff that way. And you know what it was? I'd put too much in my day. I put too much to do, and I recognised that, and I thought, you know what, it's just for today. So in my head it was like, okay, I'm not going to go for a walk now because I know I need the hour to get me where I am. I need to be for tonight for my course. So, but in my head I went, right, but for the rest of the week it's not as hectic, so I'll just do extra movement, extra activities in the rest of the week. So after this today, I can go for the walk with the dogs. I've got that time. I can walk to the school to pick the kids up. Yeah. So, and then the rest of the week I can do the same as well. And I'm going to get up early and do a workout in the morning as well. That's another thing, because it's going back to what we've said before, the whole getting up early, the miracle morning, whatever you want to call it. Get up and just get moving, and you feel so much better when you do.
You do, but we are recording this in the depths of winter. And it doesn't go light till about 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Yesterday it was going dark before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Would you prescribe for your coaching clients in the mornings? If say, because there are a lot of people out there who love to run, or they love to cycle, or they love to walk, and then it gets to this time of year and they, like for me, for example, I love walking my dogs in the morning, but not at this time of the year. Even when I'm a head torch wanker down my lane, I still don't feel safe on my own walking my dogs in the morning. So my activity levels really decrease around this time of year, and I find it very hard to work out at home because that's home. Don't want to be jumping around in Lycra on my living room floor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it has, and I've done it this morning actually. I've got all my smug points today, ching ching, because I did force myself, and that is the right word. I forced myself to work out.
Because you'd promised that you'd do it with someone? Did you have an accountability partner?
I had an accountability partner,
so that goes up to the point again that if you promise to do it with somebody else, most people will do it then.
Yeah.
Because I know if I promise and it's just me, I won't. But if I promise to do it with someone else, then I won't let them down.
I have this little routine though every morning.
Yeah.
So my alarm goes off at the moment at 5:30 and I do my bits in the morning. Not my bits, but I do my bits for my mental health.
Yes.
So my journaling, I want to say I meditate. I don't.
You're going
to teach me how to do it. I sit with my coffee and have a mindful 5 minutes, which in some circles might be classed as meditation. And then I constantly check WhatsApp to see if my accountability gym buddy is up. And it usually says, last seen 22:43 yesterday. And I wait. And then if it doesn't change, I'm like, yes, she slept in. And that happened this morning. So at like 6:29 a.m, she still was last seen at 22:23 the night before. So I'm like, she's asleep.
So
yes.
Does that make, do then you feel that you made up you're not going to do anything? Because she isn't?
Because she's not there, which is naughty. Yeah, but then... So I was like, I'm going to put my dressing gown back on. I don't have to work out. And then the messages start. Where are you? I'm in your Zoom room. I'm like, for fuck's sake. I'm having to log on, get on Zoom. I'm here. Come on, let's burpee. But felt so much better for it.
You do.
I really felt so much better for it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just get up and do it and get it out the way, and it's so much better. But going back to what you said before about me, what do I advise for my clients? And again, it depends on the client. And I think, this time of year, if you are working from home or if you do work from the office, go for a walk on your lunch, go for a bike ride on your lunch, middle of the day, no excuses. Or if you want to be in a walking group or a running group, but get up. I know some people are into cold showers, really into cold showers. I've done it, don't like it, don't get the point. Don't see it, don't see the point. And I'm not going to pretend I do, because I've tried it and I can do it, but it doesn't really do anything for me.
See, I've been doing it recently.
And what do you feel?
I've got to be honest. I have been doing it. I've turned it to the lowest temperature possible.
Yeah.
But I said to my husband, is this the coldest this shower can go? He's like, yeah, because we renovated our house. Mm-hmm. The biggest expense in the whole bloody goddamn build was this massive mega water system that he had put in, because my husband, the sad fucker, wanted to make sure that we could all have a shower at the same time. So we've got 3 showers in the house. We don't need 3 showers. There's only 3 of us. It's absolutely ridiculous. So he invested the best part of £13,000 freaking pounds in this system so we can all have a shower at the same time. This system is so sophisticated and so energy efficient that the water is always a kind of tepid temperature. So even if I wanted to do a cold shower, I can't do it. I can have it at it's probably late 20s, like 29 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, that's
which is not cold. It's tepid. It's tepid.
Do you know what you should do? Get a cold shower, cold water tap shower outside.
Well, one of my friends, listen to this. One of my friends has gone and got herself an old massive whiskey barrel.
Yeah.
She puts it outside against the cold water tap.
Does she get in it?
She gets in it, gets a swimming cosy on every morning, jumps in the big whiskey barrel and does a Wim Hof.
That is really interesting. And you know what? I'm fascinated by Wim Hof stuff, and he's been, I think, the inspiration for a lot of people doing it. But I just don't feel it. I just
don't get it.
I did the Crosby swims back, and I went in the cold water, and it was fun because I was doing it with other people.
And just to explain, Crosby is on the coast here in Merseyside in Liverpool. It's
it's a beach.
Yeah, but it's minging
in the northwest,
cold, and it's brown and it's sludgy, and I wouldn't be going in there.
It was a bit sludgy, but it was great because it was a bit of do exercise, do your meditation, go for a run with your friends, with family, whoever, and go in the cold water. And I obviously I've done the cold showers before that, so and I knew about the breath work and everything, because you can heat your body up with your breath, and you can cool it down. So it was knowing what breath to do when you hit the water, rather than being shocked when you're in the water, and because that doesn't help. It's about focusing on the breath. So we did that, and it was cold because I don't like the cold. I'd rather be warm. But I've overcome that fear, and I did feel good as the day went on. But there's other stuff that makes me feel just as good. I don't feel like I need to have a cold shower, but I do recommend that to clients and say, have a go for a week, see how you feel. And for some clients, it's like, oh my God, it's life-changing. And it's really physically and emotionally and mentally done something great for me. But for me, I just don't get it. There's other things that I do that help me more.
Well, I've got friends who use the cold shower as a stepping stone to wake them up, to get in the gym gear, which seems a bit daft. So I've got a mate at the moment who does a really quick 5-minute cold shower, doesn't wash, just gets in the water, dries himself off, gets his gym gear on, and then works out. And then we'll have a proper shower afterwards to wash himself and clean the sweat and, deal with the stinky bits and all that. Yeah, that's what he does, which I think is that's different. If you're going to use a cold shower to wake yourself up to motivate to exercise, that's a bit different. But just going back to exercise there, because you were talking about swimming in the sea, as you've explained, you're a yoga instructor. But what kind of activity and exercise have you done over the years? Because I always want to make sure that on this podcast, we're also helpful and we inspire and we motivate people. But let's take it back, because there are a lot of things we did as kids that, if you're struggling with exercise, sometimes going back to something that you really, really loved in childhood can be a great way of getting back into being physically fit. So what about you? What did you do as a kid?
Do you know what? I absolutely loved playing netball. Yeah. Loved playing netball. What
position were you?
Goal shooter.
I was going to say, I knew, because all the popular girls were goal attack or goal shooter. I just knew it. I knew you'd be one of the popular.
Do you know what?
lot.
I never felt popular in school. Never.
You're a leader if you're a goal shooter.
Really?
Yeah. You're right at the front. You're scoring
but
the goals.
I flitted from A team to B team. Oh. And that used to make me feel quite sad. I think that's where the imposter syndrome kicks in, actually. That's another story. But netball. And you know what? Funnily enough, a few months ago when we were on holiday, and my mum, who's 70, she's really, really fit and healthy, and she's still got the mind of a 21-year-old. She's just the cutest thing ever. She was sitting by the pool with Ellie, my stepdaughter, and they were talking about what they want to do. You know when you go on holiday and you talk about how fat you've been because you've drank and ate everything on holiday.
And you put the plan together of what you're going to do.
Oh, what are you going to do when you get home? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to yoga. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop eating crap. And we were having one of them conversations, because I've been saying, I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. And I didn't I? Obviously, I keep mentioning that. And my mum and Ellie got into a conversation, and Ellie said, there's a netball group, and it's from any age, from like the age of 16 up to, there's people on there who are 75, and I think she said it was an Aintree, and I need to take this up with her, because I thought I want to join that, because that would be a lovely way of socialising, and also a great way to get exercise and get you back into. I like the teamwork thing. I used to love rounders as well. We used to get made to do cross country running, and I didn't like it, but we used to do it every Monday around Courtay Park, the local park, in primary school. And over time, I actually got better at it. So then I forgot about running. It was hockey in secondary school. It was running. And then I just lost interest as we got older, boys and going out and cider and wine. And then it was the gym, and then the gym's boring. But then I go back to the classes, because I love doing stuff with people and having that competition piece there of going, oh, what are they doing? Okay, I'm going to try and do as much as they are. I'm going to beat that woman. I'm going to lift heavier weights than her in this class. And that's how I think. And then yoga, never ever thought that was exercise, because
yoga's well hard.
I know. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, but it really, even at beginner's level 0, it stretches the body, and each posture does something to the body. It's the science behind it's amazing. So you don't have to do loads. And I've always thought, I don't know about you, that you have to be a hot, sweaty mess to feel like you've done a workout. But doing yoga, it lengthens everything, it strengthens everything, and that's mentally and physically. But because it wasn't fast moving, you think, that looks a bit boring, but it's not. And I think as you get older and you want to be more slow down a little bit, that definitely helps. And it's lovely to mix the cardio or the weight with a little bit of yoga or Pilates. But as I say, I was introduced to it in 2013, and it was massive for me, and it was more of an emotional thing for me and mental thing for me. It really helped me. And at the end of it all, I had a better emotional state and physical state. It was just a great release for me to go and let stuff out, because it creates space in the body and gets rid of loads of negative energy and brings in the space in the body and the mind to bring in good energy. And I didn't really realise that till I started practicing, and it's amazing. So I obviously fascinated by yoga, became a yoga teacher, and I mix and match what I do now. Bit of cardio, bit of weight. Can't run anymore. I did a half marathon a few years ago, and I did my knee in, and I've got no toenail on my big toe.
Still?
It grows back and then doesn't.
Like falls off?
Yeah, just off me on me right. I had running, all right toenails.
Dangerous for your nails.
Yeah, dangerous for your toenails. It's just disgusting. That's why I've got socks on. Yeah, and the knees. However, never say never. Running was a bit of therapy for me as well, and doing a half marathon in under 2 hours. That's
pretty good going.
Yeah,
well done.
I did that as an achievement for myself, and I wanted to do it in under 2 hours. I did it in 1:58.
That's brilliant.
The Liverpool half marathon. Yeah, and I've not done one since because I don't want to do one, but it was an achievement. So yeah, a bit of a mixture, and to know that even if I do 20 minutes now, 20 minutes is something.
Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Yeah. We don't have to do loads. We just have to do, I'd say, 30 minutes of getting that heart rate up every day to be able to move the body and get the blood pumping around the body and chemicals. What about you?
I've tried everything. Absolutely everything.
But what did you love doing when you were a kid?
Do you know, roller boots?
Oh, yeah.
Rollerblading and roller booting. And then years later, I got hired as, and it was actually at Liverpool, the Liverpool Students' Union. I got hired as the MC for the roller discos.
No way.
Which was amazing.
Where was the roller disco?
Exactly, in the Student Union. So I had like a head mic.
Yeah.
And I had these amazing roller boots. And then we'd do like Love Train. And I'd sing like, people all over the world, join hands, let's start a love train. And I'd be like rolling. And I did that until, like, even when I was pregnant, I was 7.5 months pregnant, hosting the roller discos. That does not feel like exercise.
Yeah, because you're
absolutely enjoying it. It's brilliant. I loved swimming as a child. I really enjoyed swimming. And interestingly, years later, I went to do the triathlon in our city and got into open water swimming. And I thought, before my first open water swim...
You've done everything.
Oh, I'm just ridiculous. Before my first open water swim, as I'm zipping up my wetsuit, trying to get these rather large mammaries of mine into a wetsuit, which was fun in itself. That was a workout, believe me. Before going in the water, it was all like, it's full of jellyfish. It's disgusting. It's salt water. But actually, like you were saying before, when you go in the sea, I was taught how to breathe to go into the water. And I really enjoyed it. The buoyancy of wearing a wetsuit, I'd never done that before. And it kind of like just carries you a little bit, makes it that little bit easier. I was talking about this yesterday. So I did quite a lot of open water swimming, and I went to some freshwater places. I went to some seawater places, but swimming through the docks here in Liverpool city centre that were full of jellyfish. So the idea was to do front crawl, and I always had really long nails and they would stick in my nails. So I developed this like amazing stroke where I would punch them out the way. So I'd like punch them through the water. But that became loads of fun. And then it was like a cross between open water swimming and like a Pac-Man style game, because I'd count them 1, 2, 3, 4. And then at the end of it, it'd be like 46. I punched 46 jellyfish out of the way today, which was great.
Did they not like sting you or anything?
No, they were. It was like bobbing apples. They were just solid, squidgy, weird things. Yeah. So I did that. So I've done the triathlon, which I really enjoyed. I've done all sorts of gym stuff. Love weight training. I've done London Marathon twice.
Well done.
No, it was like in crap time. The first time...
You've still done it?
So the first time I did it with broadcasting equipment, because we were broadcasting back to the studio, and we were that slow that they'd started reopening all the roads. There was no water tables left at the end. And then the second time, again, I did it for the radio, and I did it with a co-host who lied and told me he'd done loads of training. Yeah. And he hadn't, because at my late teen, he ended up in an ambulance on oxygen and I had to wait. Yeah, which was hard because my legs started to seize up. So it was really bad. He's in an ambulance on oxygen. There's another guy who's in a really serious state who's got all sorts of wires all over him. And I'm doing like star jumps outside to try and keep the blood flow going in my legs. That was not a fun experience at all.
Well, yeah, I'm so inspired by people that do marathons. My husband Mark has done a lot. He's done London, Paris, New York. He's done a couple of others. He's done a couple in Liverpool. And his mindset before it, he hasn't done one for about 5 years, but he really gets into it and promises and stuff, goes on all his training, does all that. And he did one with his best mate, Keith, the last time they did one in London, and Keith had just had chicken pox and hadn't done much training, but because he'd said he'd do it for charity and because he worked for Barclays, and Barclays
they match fund, don't they? Yeah.
He was like, I've got to do it. And Mark was sort of like a little bit, oh shit, if I've got to do it with Keith, I'm going to have to stay slow with him because he's not done any training. He's not going to sit with me and Jenny. I think they took about 5 hours, but the gates and all that was starting to open. But they did it, and like Mark said, that was the hardest one he's done because he obviously wanted to do it with his mate, and his mate was struggling, but because he was doing it slower and he couldn't focus, it was one of the most challenging.
It is harder doing it slower. Absolutely, I was there with the two people that I ran and did that. But my husband also did the London Marathon, and at the time he did it with my producer from the radio show that I was working on at the time, and they did a couple of training runs, and they did one in Blackpool. Now, for those people who might not know where Blackpool is in the northwest coast of the UK. It's one of the freezing, most bleakest place. Even in summer, it is Baltic and freezing. So my husband Sean and Ross were doing this training run together, and it was like a 10-mile training run ahead of the London Marathon, and they'd stuck. Ross was really struggling because he'd struggled to train. He was working as a producer on a breakfast show at the radio station. He was, he didn't have a lot of spare time. My husband's just one of those genetic freaks of fucking nature who could just do it. Because actually, when we did the Barcelona when we went to Barcelona this year, Sean got absolutely shit-faced, came downstairs for his breakfast the morning of the run, saw everybody in the t-shirts, went back upstairs, got still pissed, got into his In Memory of Colin McGinty t-shirt, which is the team that we run for, gets his number on and just did it and smashed it. Like, arsehole, I haven't done any training, still drunk. That's the kind of guy he is. So he's gone on this run in Blackpool. It's a 10-miler with Ross. Ross looks like he's going to die by mile 3, but they stick together. It gets to the last straight. It must have been a half a mile straight down the prom. And Sean, I don't know what possessed him. He just left Ross and just absolutely belted it to the end. And he crosses the line with his arms up, expecting a hug and a kiss from me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What do you mean? I went, you're supposed to be a team. Where is he? And Ross is like struggling. He's got cramp and he's like a snail dragging his legs behind him to get over the line. And I just looked at Sean and I went, you. I said, there isn't an I in team, but there is one in prick. And then, so when it came to doing the actual London Marathon, Sean knew you're under strict instructions to make sure that Ross gets over the line. But it was so much harder for them. And I know it frustrated my husband because he knew he could run it faster. Yeah. So he then did do it again a few years later, and he wanted to get under 4 hours. That was his goal. I think he did it in like 3:58:59 seconds, something like that. But, there's that competitive side. We're talking about physical fitness. There's that competitive side and working up to a goal. And while that's amazing, actually, sometimes I think that can be detrimental to some people, because if you train so hard for something and then you have that euphoric moment, like in a marathon scenario, you cross that finish line, you are so sore for days afterwards. You've got to get back in the saddle and keep on running. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. and then they just stop.
Yeah.
And they've had this like 9-month period where they've done loads of training and they've been super motivated and they've got to the goal. And there's a bit of like the goal blues, the post-goal blues, like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think I've stopped setting those lofty exercise goals, because I knew I fell into that pattern as well. You know, if I had a 10K...
Really going for it and then it's like... going for it. And it's being conscious of that though, isn't it? So you know, whereas some people though, I know some people who go to do that and then they move on to the next thing and then there's no rest.
Which like, also can be quite damaging
no rest too. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, just have a couple of days, or go and run like 4-6 miles. You don't need to keep going back.
One of my mates has run over 200 days now, I think, every single day. I'm just looking. We've got a really frustrating WhatsApp group that makes me feel like a failure because they all post every day all their runs. Running. Yeah, there's all these like Strava maps.
So I'm a part of a running group, of a WhatsApp group, and I've not done anything for a couple of years, so I just don't post anything. I might say some well dones in there to the ones who have, but I just don't get it. It's like the cold shower thing. Running doesn't work for me at this moment. It's not done for a couple of years. I love walking, and I love climbing mountains. I say that like as if I've climbed Everest or Kilimanjaro. I can't climb Snowdon. But that's an aim that I want that on my bucket list.
Oh, Everest.
Should
we do it?
I'd love to do it.
I would absolutely love to do something like that as well. And what obviously we'd have to train.
Yeah. What would make me do it more would be if I signed up for a charity to raise money for a charity. That would keep me going, because I know a few people who've done it. And I know a few people who've done Kilimanjaro as well. And they said the training that you've got to do beforehand, you can do stuff here, but then obviously you go to the base camp there and you've got to do altitude tests and all that, and you can feel sick and all. But that'd be such a challenge. Imagine that. I've climbed Everest.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But we'd have to make sure that we had something else at the end of it.
Yeah.
You'd have to, because
you'd have that whole
goal blues
down
again.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, but yeah, I'm up for that. Right. I know that's like really extreme, but yeah, even because where did that come from? Like I said, I like climbing mountains, so Mohammer and Snowdon in Wales, and Snowdon's like pretty hard for some people. The last time I did that was last year, and I did that with my mum, and she did it, and she halfway there, we were halfway up scrambling up because we did the hard route. It was a charity. And for Owen McVeigh Foundation. And she was like, I can't do it. And I was like, you're doing it? And she was like, I can't. I was like, but you are doing it. And I had to keep stopping and starting with it. And inside I was going, oh God, I think we might have to get mountain rescue or something, because she was literally, we were like on a ledge and people were like queuing behind us.
No.
And she was like, my knees. And I was like, it's all right, you're doing it. And so we got to the top and she was so emotional. Oh, it was just the cutest thing. And she was like, I said, now all we've got to worry about is going down. And that was even worse because, again, toenails. We both had no toenails when we got to the bottom because of the, you stop
your toes are bashing
on the front of the thing.
Yeah.
But she was absolutely ecstatic about doing that, and I was so glad I did it with her. And I said to her, it's mind over matter. I said, and you did it. And she was like, I know. So I asked her to do it this year and she told me to fuck off. No, I've already done that, Claire. You can fuck off. And my mum doesn't swear.
Talking of mind over matter there, though. Yeah. So, we're talking there about marathons and climbing mountains, and that is a real mind over matter scenario. But actually, I think even just committing to doing some regular exercise consistently is also just as taxing mind over matter. And actually, I'd argue and say that when you're running a marathon, when you're climbing a mountain, like you say, you're doing it for charity, you don't want to let people down. It is your mindset that carries you through. And I think it's harder every day when you're trying to do something and just get your steps up or work out. That mind over matter stuff is really, really hard. And I know I've got some things that I would say on that. And my first tip would be to do it first thing in the morning. If you do it first thing in the morning, as close to getting up as you possibly can, it's done then.
Get it out the way.
Get it out the way.
It's just, have you ever heard of the book called Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy? I was going to say, you will know this.
Fucking eat that
Just
frog.
eat that big ugly fat frog so you're not thinking about
right,
it
we need
all
to
day.
explain this for anybody who might not have read this book. So go on.
So Brian Tracy is an author of a concept called Eat That Frog, and I think it stems from a book.
I think he was pissed, to be fair.
I do, and he's made bloody millions out of it, hasn't he? Because it's common sense at the end of the day. But it was his thing was, if you had to eat a big, ugly, fat bastard live frog, at what point in the day would you eat it?
It's just mad, isn't it?
And it's like most people say, I'd eat it first thing in the morning to get it out the way. And then other people go, oh, at the end of the day. And it's like, no, why would you? Why? Because you'd just be thinking about that frog all day. So just do the task that you don't want to do. And the big, ugly task, important task that you've got to do, he hints at, isn't it? So it's about getting that thing that you need to do that you might not like, the biggest, ugliest, fattest frog, the biggest task, the biggest mountain, the run. Do it first thing as soon as you wake up. And then everything else you can focus on for the rest of the day. Yeah. Eat that frog. Brian Tracy. It's very late. Serious and plastic.
Very serious. Very serious. But no, definitely
it's
getting
a
up.
It's a concept though, and it works.
It is. It does work. It does. I also think having some accountability, we touched on that. So with me at the moment, I've got a buddy, a gym buddy. And if we can't go to the gym together, then we make sure we do a home workout together. We both subscribe to the same workout app. It's 15 quid a month.
What's that one?
It's called Sweat. It's really good. And we just both say, right, what are we doing today? And if we'll go on Zoom and do it together. But if we can't, we do it on the app separately. We take a screenshot of when we've done it, but also our fitness watches, because you can't fake the calories and the steps and the heart rate on the fitness watches. Yeah. So we'll send a screenshot of what we've done on our fitness watch and a screenshot of the workout that we've done. And it's brilliant because we just wouldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah.
And having a buddy like that, accountability only works if the two of you are as committed to it as each other.
Yeah.
And it only works if you have a system where you can't cheat. So you have to prove what you've done.
Yeah. Because
the other thing that I do is I've talked about this before, I tick things off a spreadsheet every day. But that's me against me. And if you were my accountability buddy, for example, if you were checking in on my spreadsheet, it's more than just a tick on an action. The best accountability is sharing the proof of what you've done.
Yeah, the evidence.
The evidence, yeah.
And being proud that you've done it as well, and then getting that recognition from each other to go, well done. That's a brilliant thing. But that would make me do it if I have to have evidence. That makes me do it. That's
what I do with my clients. You know, I need the evidence. I need you to show me that you've done it. Like for me this morning, my workout was 29 minutes. It's nothing.
Yeah.
I'd have sat on the bloody bog scrolling on Instagram for longer than that.
Exactly.
I would quite easily, no problem. But I did it, and then it just makes me feel awesome for the rest of the day. Yes, I'm knackered. No, it wasn't fun. Sumo squats are fucking shit, but I did it.
Sumo squat.
My arse is killing me. I'm walking like I've been powerbomb with no lube for 4 days, but it's good because I'm winning the day.
Because your bum feels tight.
Sorry, Mum, if you're listening. She won't be like that at all.
My mum won't know what you're talking about.
That's okay then. That's okay. Got a clue. So we've kind of covered the importance for us of physical health. We've touched on the fact that do something that you absolutely love that you can stick to consistently. And if you don't know what that is, try things out. Go back to basics. What did you love doing at school? Give things a try, especially like you were saying, you got into yoga really, really late. You came into it from a mindset perspective as well as the physical side of things, and it was absolutely incredible. Yeah. We talked about getting over the goal blues. So when you've achieved a massive goal, what do you do afterwards? Make sure you've got a plan in place for
That's a big thing, actually, because you can get a little bit depressed about that.
Yeah, you can. And we talked about having an accountability buddy to make sure that you do it. Is there anything else we might have missed? I think there is one, actually, and that is just moving a little bit more, getting the steps in, because often we will have this massive focus on our exercise. So, and we might say to ourselves, I'm going to exercise 3 times this week, but actually you can do just as much and it's just as beneficial to commit to moving every single day. And you talked about this earlier on in this episode. You walk to school with the kids.
Yeah, you wherever you can. walk. And even yesterday I had a couple of calls, and even though it was a little bit cold outside yesterday, I went outside in the garden and walked around the garden while I was on my calls, just to get my body moving. And it was good for my head as well. And it was because I'm more creative when I'm moving. For some reason, that's just the way I am. Ideas come when I'm moving.
Another thing as well, because a lot of people, particularly after 2020 now, work from home. And I talk about this a lot when I'm talking to clients and when I'm doing speeches for businesses, that we have got into this habit of doing video calls for an hour. And if you think about in the good old days when we worked in offices and we would sit with people, we would sit and we'd chat and we'd be in each other's space, but not necessarily staring at that other person via a webcam like we do now. I like to ask my clients, so I've got clients who are business owners who'll say to me things like, I can't get out, I can't have a lunch break, I can't go walking. And I'll sneakily say things like, oh, you know that meeting you've got on Wednesday at 1:00 with whoever it is it just the two of you? Yeah. Are you together? No, it's on a Zoom call. Great. Can you walk and talk at the same time? Because you can get your headphones on with your phone and you can make notes on your phone as you walk and talk. And I did that on Saturday. I had a call with a client. It went on for an hour and a half. I did like 4 miles.
Yeah. While you're doing it, walk with your headphones on and go and do it.
And we were chatting and we were on Zoom. So it was a proper face-to-face Zoom. I had my headphones on. And then when I needed to make notes, I clicked into my notes app, made the notes and clicked back onto the Zoom call. And it was fine. Yes, it's a corporate setting and scenario, but they were cool with it. I was cool with it. And I got to walk all that way and get my steps up.
And because you're busy, the walk goes really quick. You don't realise, do you? And again, as I say, I think it helps you be more creative with your movement and you being outside in nature. It really, really helps. I know someone who's got one of those treadmills that you can attach the laptops to now. And she put it on LinkedIn the other day and I was like, that's great, but I'd have to have it outside. So it felt like I was.
So you felt like you were outdoors.
Well, that's a great idea. But even, that working from home scenario, dancing in the kitchen.
Yes.
Because if you love dancing, put your favourite tune on and just dance to that tune to just break that state and get that exercise and get the heart rate up. I've done that a few times.
What's that good phrase? It's about changing your state. If you want to change your mindset, you've got to change your state. Like sometimes if you're feeling a bit like the world is on your shoulders, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, just changing your state can really help you refocus, can't it? So a good old blast of your favourite tune in the kitchen.
Just shake it up and just change your state, your physical state. Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
And the last thing I wanted to talk about was a lot of the time when people say, oh, I'm starting a health kick on Monday, we often think that we've got to be perfect and book in 5 sessions and we're going to do all of the things. And I'm here to say that I know that doesn't work often for the majority of people. And if you're somebody listening to this and you're thinking, I really need to get back into my exercise, start small. Commit to 1 session a week and win. And love and revel in the feeling of winning. And then build it up and do 2 the week later and do 3 the week after that. And the week after that, if you know it's going to be an absolutely packed, busy week, go back down to 1.
Yeah,
because
so you're still doing
So you're still just doing something and you're winning and you're maintaining that momentum. And it's about, and I don't know about you, I like to sit down on a Sunday and I plan my week out, including when I'm going to work out. First thing in the morning, eat that fucking frog. First thing in the morning. But it's great because I've planned the week out. I've connected with my accountability buddy. Right, we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6:30, whenever it is. See you on Zoom, done. And it's like you get to Friday, I've got all the smug points and just feel amazing.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, totally. I just wanted to quickly talk to you about, you mentioned about, start Monday. And it's like, why can't you just start now? Just start now.
Exactly.
Why has it got to be this time?
Always got to be Monday.
And I remember years ago when I used to go through up and down in the binge eating and stuff like that, I'd go, right, okay, I'm going to start Monday. But Sunday night binge would come because you'd stuff yourself. No, and because I'm going to start being good tomorrow. But to the point of like you were full of food, but you were constant. And loads of my friends still say that. They'll go, I'm going to eat loads on Sunday because I know Monday I'm going to start, and then it gets to Wednesday and say, I'm going to start Monday again. And it's like, just eat in moderation what you want, and the weight might just come off, and move more. Just move more.
Exactly. That is the message of this week's podcast.
More.
Move more. And yeah, like we say, if you want any more inspiration, there's a really good thing that you can do. Virtual running races, if you've never thought about this before, because these are a good thing if you're trying to get into exercise. Have a look online for virtual running races. You can pay to enter. You keep accountable via something like Runkeeper or Strava. And if you do your steps, and you can set it to be something like 25 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles in a monthly period. And if you get those miles in, they will send you a medal.
Oh,
have you never done one of these before?
No.
Maybe we should do one.
It's just rang a bell. I think I know someone who's doing it, but that is, again, it's a bit of a reward at the end, and there's a bit of measurement there, because you need to measure stuff, what you're going to do, because if you're not measuring, you're not going to get any changes, are you?
What gets measured gets managed. That's the wanky phrase for that. What gets measured gets managed. And on that note, we'll wrap up this week's podcast. My name's Gemma Ray.
And I'm Claire Morton.
Thank you for listening to Honest to Gob.